And good morning, everyone, and welcome to Coffee with the Crone. I am Shayla, and today we have a couple of things on the list. First of all, you'll notice I have a different background, and there's a reason for that. I have been working with Jason and with Raven Marie on a latchkey hour for tomorrow night that is going to be pretty darn epic. Unsolved Mysteries, the lost episode. And so this is a background I had pulled for our production of that. And I ended up not using it, but I still thought it was cool. I kind of like this 70s vibe back here. So I thought I'd use it today, get some use out of the work I put into researching and the creative vision for that episode. So that's hence the different background today. First on the docket, we have Raven Marie with us, who's gone through a lot of changes in the last 3 weeks. So we are
Yes.
going to talk to her about that. And then we'll do that for about the first half of the episode. And then the second half of the episode is going to be an Ask Me Anything. So I promised you guys an opportunity. And some of you, if you want to come join me on screen, we can make that happen. So I'm really looking forward to it. So in the meantime, welcome back because you've been on Latchkey
Yeah.
Hour before, but not as Raven Marie. So
Mhm.
welcome, Raven Marie. This is
Yes.
Raven Marie's debut
Yes.
on Coffee with the Crone. How is this week and these last 3 weeks? How have they been going for you, Raven? And tell us what you've been up to.
It's been up, down, left, and right, but I will say this. I have had a lot of self-realizations. Yes, I'll be upfront and honest with everybody. Most everybody knows who I was dating before,
Mhm.
and I have come with, I have finally made peace with the fact that things went south and it ended.
Mhm.
Um, and there's no going back, which when you come up with self realizations of what happened during that relationship, you realize, and then you realize how bad you were, you really can make the peace real quick.
Okay,
And
good.
that's one of the things that I've been trying to, I guess, force on myself the last 3 weeks is
Mhm.
you can't change the past. The future doesn't
Mhm.
exist. So stay in the present.
Mhm.
That's been the big thing mentally. Um, I will say, laying in that hotel room in New Jersey kind of made me figure it all out as far
Okay.
as gender and all that other stuff goes. Like this, it never started this late. Like I've had thoughts about this since I was like 13. So
So can you just share more about what that massive revelation was? Because there may be some people in the chat who haven't been following you. So I just want to make sure everybody's caught up.
so yeah, we Oceana and I were in a hotel room in New Jersey, and we were there with a friend. I don't know how she wants to be called on here, so I'll just say a friend. And they went outside, and I just started not, chemically helped. I will say
Mhm.
that started realizing how much of my life I have fucked up and missed out on because I was afraid of myself. And
Mhm.
then it started rolling into you realize you've been like this since you were 13. You
Been
needed
like what?
I've always had questions because I noticed, like, I tried to do everything a normal teenage boy would do,
Mhm.
play baseball and go outside and get dirty and all that. And a lot of my female friends went, you realize, we're more masculine than you are. And I'm like,
Mm.
huh. And really, my first girlfriend was the first time I ever sat down and was like, huh, why do I feel like I'm not who I am?
Mhm.
And I've never, it's always in the back of my mind. and it's always kind of affected my thinking. And then
Mm-hmm.
it's, do you realize where you live?
Mm-hmm.
It took me until I was in my 20s before I was officially out as bisexual.
Mm-hmm.
Because even then,
You're in South Carolina.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm in South
And
Carolina. It's the 90s.
and
Uh,
not a huge city.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a no-no. I mean, I fooled around with guys in my teens, yes, but it was very hush hush and very down low. Like
Mm-hmm.
nobody was supposed to know. I ended up One of the guys I ended up sleeping with ended up beating me up to make sure that
Mm-hmm.
I didn't say anything.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was that, and didn't exactly have the best of girlfriends either. I'm starting to learn
Mm-hmm.
from back in the day. She'd put me in situations I probably shouldn't have been put in. So yeah, that's kind of how my teens went, to be honest with you. And it took me 30 years to actually realize, no, wait, you're not bisexual. You're actually fucking trans, dude. It's time to come
You
out.
are, well, you're a
Yeah,
trans woman.
right. It's
You're a
time.
woman.
Yeah, it's time to get
Mhm.
the fuck out the closet. Who cares?
Wonderful.
Yeah, maybe it's that 40s freedom we always talk about, that what everybody calls a
Mhm.
midlife crisis.
Sure. Well, I don't think it's a midlife crisis. I think it's part of what um, cis women go through during perimenopause, which is like you get to a point where you don't give a fuck what people think about you anymore.
No, and
Yeah.
I'll be honest, the end of my last relationship made me realize that I just
And but you're in a situation where you have to be prudent about the speed and extent and mechanisms by which you make this transition um, for your safety. Yes.
yeah,
Yeah. And so one of the first when you first um, came out as and introduced us to Raven Marie, I DM'd you and asked you what your pronouns were.
yeah,
And your response was, call me whatever you want, just don't call me late to dinner.
yep,
And so
and
I want to ask you, was that your response because you were trying to make this easier for me, or is that really how you feel?
I have a my best friend in the whole world is a lesbian, and she is non-binary, and that's been her attitude for 15 years.
Mhm.
She's like, I don't give a fuck what you call me, just don't call me late for dinner. And when I'm realizing all the shit that's going on through me, that's literally it. You know,
Okay.
I totally understand. Like, I totally get it. I am in that beginning of the social transition.
Mhm.
So if a random stranger on the street was like, sir or guy, he, that sort of thing, like,
Mhm.
why am I gonna what's the phrase I'm looking for? Never confuse malice with incompetence.
Mhm.
I guess that would be
Mhm. Mhm. Okay.
the way to put it.
Well, but I'm also not a stranger on the street. I've known you
Yeah.
um, from before the transition, and I want to do you the service of calling you what you prefer if you
Mhm.
genuinely have a preference for the people who
Yeah.
aren't just random strangers on the street.
I,
So when that was your response, my thought was,
yeah.
well, I'm going to default to she or them as
Yeah.
um, but because I don't want it to be about me.
Right. No, I totally get that. And my whole thing has always been whatever is comfortable for anybody. Like, I'm
Okay.
not one of these people. Not maybe that might change down the road. Like when I
Mhm,
fully, when
mhm,
I fully transition. But I think right now in the social transition portion, I think right now it's just hey, it's whatever you're comfortable with, because I'm not going to berate anybody unless I know, like, if I know your intention is
Mhm.
off, then I'm going to jump, I'm going to jump your ass. But if
So
we're,
if I were to slip and call
yeah,
you by the name I previously knew you by, you're not going to bite my head off
no. And
because
I
you know
think,
I'm well
yeah,
intentioned. Okay.
right. And I think I see Luca is in here, and Esme is in here, and
Hmm.
I think there might be a few other trans people in here, and I think I can
Hmm.
speak for all of them too when I say that 90% of us, if we know your intention, we're not going to jump your ass.
Hmm.
And y'all back me up on this if you want to, but it happens, right? I mean, it's not always going to be perfection. It's not always going to be, I've seen it happen before. Hell, between me and my best friend, the liberal use of the word dude.
I do refer to my girlfriends as dude, and I
Yeah,
have girlfriends refer to me as dude. So I do kind of see
yeah,
that as a gender neutral term these
I
days.
I do too. And even when I'm in you know, because Oceana and I are still friends, and we're
Hmm.
chatting, and Meg and I will chat, and it's like, dude, like
Hmm.
it's it's gone
Yeah.
pretty. I think the word. I'm not going to sit here and be like a green light or whatever card person, but I feel that way about dude. I felt that way about dude forever.
Well, I think the important thing for anybody, any of us here to remember is that everybody's different.
Yes.
Everybody's wishes um, and desires about how they want their transition to proceed socially is going to be different because we're all individuals. And so, what I want to thank you, Raven, for helping me do today is at least set one example for how we can have that conversation with
Yeah.
each other and come to clarity and common agreements about. How you want this to proceed
Right.
and what your preferences are and getting out there your understanding that I
Well,
might screw
yeah.
up unintentionally.
The,
So
yeah.
I think just having the conversations with people because not everybody's going to be the same.
No, right.
That's my
And
point.
that's the whole thing. I think a lot of people in Substack know me well enough to know that I'm willing to have the uncomfortable conversations as long as I know you're coming from a good place.
Hmm.
Like if you're just doing it, like I have a boss all the time, like I want to have the uncomfortable. No, no, you don't. You just want to spew your talking points and
Hmm.
just leave it at that. That's your version of the uncomfortable conversation.
Well, and there are going to be the people who just want to ask some lewd questions out of morbid curiosity, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can't stand the I'm just asking questions. No, no, you're not. No, you're not.
Hmm.
There's a
Hmm.
lot of people online that's their thing is I'm just asking. Oh, we
Hmm.
know especially when the questions are pointed in a certain direction.
Hmm.
That's usually
So,
when you get the idea.
you have chosen to go camera off and be faceless for a while. Is
Mhm.
that do you want to share that reasoning with
It's
folks?
it's part marketing. I'm not gonna lie, it is part marketing because I am going faceless on YouTube for a while, and I thought it would look kind of what do you call it inconsistent if
Hmm.
I'm if I'm doing interview stuff and my face is plastered everywhere, then it's like the rest of my YouTube is faceless documentaries. It's like, well, what the hell is going on? So part of it is consistency. Another part of it is there has been some. I'll just say I'm not exactly happy with the way I look either, and I know I've got and a lot of it is especially with my mouth. I got $9,000 worth of oral surgery I need to have.
Hmm.
I've got to. we couldn't afford to get we couldn't afford to get what they call them spacers, where
Mm-hmm.
you're, because I have an overbite,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um, and we couldn't afford to get my jaw to naturally come back to where it's supposed to be. So that now, when you're done, when your face is done growing, the only way you can fix that problem is you have to have your jaw broken,
Ugh.
and they have to manually reset your jaw.
Mm.
That's not cheap.
Hmm. No kidding.
But
It's a great way to lose a lot of weight fast, though.
oh yeah, oh yeah, soup is your best friend sometimes. Um, but okay, so for a lot of people, I know there's probably two or three people going, well, that's just, overbite, blah blah blah. No, it's not aesthetic. Like, this
Mm-hmm.
is not an aesthetic surgery for me.
Mm-hmm.
I have a severe overbite,
Mm-hmm.
and I've already noticed it when it comes to my two front teeth. Is that my overbite is so bad it's actually receded the gum behind my teeth.
Mm-hmm. So it's
So
medically necessary.
it's medically necessary.
Mm-hmm.
And I also know that I need
Can
to
also
have,
lead to like TMJ and stuff, which is a
oh yeah.
whole other
And, you know,
Pandora's box.
with about 20 years of depression, you
Mm-hmm.
don't take care of yourself as much as you should.
Mm-hmm.
So, one of my biggest things at certain times, especially when I was drinking heavier and using drugs and all that, was lack of oral care.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what you do in your 20s comes back to haunt you in your 40s.
Most definitely.
So, so yeah, I got to have a lot of my teeth taken out and have, what do you call it, partials put in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm walking as we talk because my Poco
Uh,
Loco needs it out.
yeah.
Um, so what support systems do you have, both at home and here on Substack?
So my family doesn't know, and I'm planning on keeping it that way for now.
Mhm.
Um, I have my friends. I have a lot of people. I got you and Jason, obviously. Um, I got, Oceana and her partner. Um,
Mhm.
as
Trixie.
long as, yeah, Trixie.
Mhm.
I keep forgetting what she wants to be called on here. But Oceana and Trixie, I've got, because, as long as we remember boundaries, they're still very good friends. We're still almost like family. Um, Obviously, Wendy and, a few people in there, Onyx Rose as
Yes.
well.
Yeah.
I talk to them a lot. Shockingly, even Brandon, I'll talk to.
Why is
El-
that shocking?
because a lot, I think what it is, I think we all know Brandon is, yeah, obviously Brandon's gay. He's put it
Mhm.
out there. He's marketed himself as that,
Yes.
and you would think that maybe, because I've seen it in certain parts of the. Uh, let's be honest, there are certain parts of the LGB community
Mhm.
that are not
Are
very,
anti-trans.
yeah, not very
Yeah.
welcoming to trans
Okay.
people.
Mhm.
And so sometimes you do get a little leery about being around, you know, uh, gay people and lesbians, and bisexuals, just
Mm.
because you don't know who's on whose side.
Sure. Gotcha.
And but when you learn people's intentions and you learn people's, where their heart is, it makes it a lot easier.
Sure.
So I try to give a lot of people a chance. But if I know that you're, especially if you're in the LGB community, um, I I have very little tolerance for those people to begin with. If you are LGB without the T, I really, I don't even know a better way of saying it. What I call them pigs for bacon because I hate to
Huh,
break
huh. Oh, that I haven't heard that one before, but that's good.
pro bacon pigs because I hate to break the news to those people. But if they got their way and all the transgender people just disappeared from the face of the planet tomorrow, they'd be
Uh-huh.
released. And they're basically cheering for their own oppression.
Sure.
That's just how
Yeah.
it goes.
Yeah. So, are there, for the folks in the chat,
Hmm.
um, what do you, from folks on Substack, what is it the folks who are supporting you are doing that the other folks in the chat could also be doing to support you?
No, just act, act normally.
Mm,
Like, you know, I think that I think a lot of us appreciate it when we're just one of you. You know, it's like
yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and you know throw it in everybody's face. And I mean, am I proud? Yes, and I know a lot of us are very, especially in the trans side. There are more people, and it's like 10 to 1. I think the main regret of a transgender person is they didn't do it earlier,
Mm,
more than they did it.
yeah.
And I get it, and I can see that there are people that regret doing it. They may have thought certain things, and that's why I am one of those people that's like, you probably should, if you are trans or you think you're trans, maybe go to a therapist. And I'm not saying that to be a dick. I'm not saying that to be anything other than that's what I'm doing right now.
I used to be a therapist
Yeah.
before I became before I became a school principal. That's what I did for a long time. And I hope I helped some people along the way,
Yeah. Oh,
you
yeah.
know?
Because I think therapy helps more than it hurts. And but you
Well,
also got to
and
you get to surround yourself with like-minded people too. I understand that.
once again, everybody's process is going to be different. I my to my understanding, um, if you are going to be go after top surgery, bottom surgery, then probably some therapy is required prior to that surgery. I
Oh,
don't know that
absolutely.
for a fact, but I feel like I've heard that somewhere before. So,
It's I think it's a very smart. I just think it's a very smart thing just to have on occasion. I think everybody needs, and I'm not one of those that's like, oh, everybody should just go to therapy. Shut up and go to therapy. I
mhm.
think everybody needs someone who has no skin in the game when it comes to you.
Mm,
Everybody needs that one person, like I said, that has absolutely no emotional attachment to you whatsoever. Because
mhm.
sometimes you're
Just
gonna
for the sheer objectivity of it, right?
absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
you're always your friends are always going to support you no matter what. And you listen, I get it. And there are real friends out there that will. I'm not saying everybody's fake or anything like that, but real friends are going to tell you 90% of the time they're going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. But I think it's still good to have somebody who just has nothing to lose with you.
Well, and maybe you're more inclined to accept a message you need to hear from somebody who um, isn't invested in the outcome personally.
Right. And
Who-
oh, go ahead.
Oh no, no, fine.
No, what I will say is there are occasions where, when it comes to friends, when it comes to people you love, they can sugarcoat it a little bit. And,
Mhm.
again, I subscribe to the old Mary Poppins, a spoonful of sugar and all that. But there comes a time where maybe you shouldn't have it sugarcoated. Maybe stark reality should come up.
Mm, yeah. So you are in therapy.
Yes, I am in therapy. I have, I'm on. This is going to be my second um, meeting coming up a week from Monday.
Nice.
Um, I got and I think this is crucial too when you get in therapy. You need somebody close to your age because there are certain
Mm,
quirks, and
okay.
I've learned this. There's certain quirks and certain things that somebody like. Okay, I'm a zillennial, um, so I could have like a late Gen X and an early millennial. Um, what do you call it? A therapist, and I'd be all
Hmm.
right because they grew up the same time I did. So they would
Hmm.
actually understand the climate. They would understand, and that to me means more than anything else because especially when you're trying to understand a person.
How did you go about finding a therapist who you were confident would be supportive for you in this process?
So,
Because I could imagine there are therapists out there who um, are not necessarily.
oh no, see that's and I love what I've done for those of you who are in the U. I don't know if this works outside of the U.S. and Canada, but this is who I go to. Open Path Collective. It is a group. They just started this year. If you
Mm,
don't have insurance and you don't make over $100,000 a year, they're willing to help you, and they will discount your therapy
mhm,
sessions.
mhm.
So they will, and
Prorated.
yes, prorated. My therapy right now is $30 a session. My therapist charges normally $200 a
Yeah.
session.
Yep. That's
So
about the going rate. Mhm.
yeah, and the thing is, they will ask you a whole bunch of questions. And obviously, when you fill out, and this is the key, and I think this is where a lot of people screw up. Every therapist asks you in the intake, "Why are you here?" And I think what a
Yep.
lot of people screw up is they try to give a good generic answer, and they're not open.
Mm.
And I think that is something everybody, when you go into therapy, this is why it fails 8 out of 10 times for everybody. You have to go in there transparent. You and you can't hold back. I mean, you cannot make yourself look good. I mean, if it's something you need to work on, you've got to make yourself look horrible in a way. I noticed that
At
when I
least
was yeah.
be, I think, transparent and just
Mhm.
a willing to be vulnerable.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
very much willingness to be vulnerable because I mean, if you're going to hide certain aspects of yourself, you're never going to fix it. And if you don't want to go into therapy, I got a great idea: a shadow journal. A
Mm.
lot of us in a lot of us in pagan areas, we love our shadow journals because it's a place we can go to be like, oh, I didn't know it was, wow, you know.
Mhm.
I don't know if you've ever done that. You just wrote down the negative aspects, and you're because when you see it in black and white, you're just like, oh, really? You know, don't
That's a
and
great
don't
idea.
and by the way, don't beat yourself up. Please stop beating yourself up over every little
Yeah.
mistake you make.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I want to thank you for
Yes,
being so transparent and honest. Um, I think it's good for our friendship. Um,
absolutely.
and I think it's great for the people in the chat to have kind of a point of reference for how to have a conversation like this. Um,
Yes,
do you want to talk a little bit about tomorrow night? Because I have to credit
yes,
you with the idea for tomorrow night's Latchkey episode. This was your baby, and
this
we have
was.
the three of us have worked together to pull it into something that is going to be absolutely epic.
And I wish I had some of the prop or some of the costumes like fully,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
I made my own. I made the substitutions pretty well,
We
but
just do the best we can.
yeah,
That's
it
fine. We're not
is.
a professional production.
Everybody remembers Unsolved Mysteries and
Yep.
Robert Stack and that voice that
Yep.
just scared the living hell out of you.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to those missing stories. And if you have any, and yes, it happened. I was perusing and unsolved. I watch unsolved mysteries on YouTube all the freaking time, and I'm like, oh, this is definitely if you grew up in the late 70s, early 80s, this is kind of your childhood, you know,
Hmm.
because you always had that one parent that just had to watch it.
I enjoyed watching it, but I'm also an older Gen Xer. So I'm on
Yes,
the old end.
yes,
Um,
it's great.
but yeah, I love that show, and all of the episodes, or a whole heck of a lot of them, are actually on YouTube. And so Raven came to me and said, "Hey, if you ever want to do an Unsolved Mysteries episode, I want to help." So here we are. And tomorrow night, it is an unprecedented level of effort has gone into this episode. Um, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's very funny because it's very parody driven. Um, and so I just want to encourage everybody to tune in tomorrow night. It's going to be at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. And you'll see us going live. And I have some reminders in notes and stuff like that with the link. So please come check it out.
Yes.
Well, Raven, you have
Yes.
some work to do to finish up uh, your part for tomorrow.
Yep. I already
And
sent
I,
in 2 videos this morning because the chicken has
excellent.
decided it's not thawed yet. So
Okay, great. And so we are going to be working on some, all of
yep,
the kind of last minute pieces of pulling everything together so that we will be ready to go
yep,
tomorrow evening. So
absolutely.
thank you so much for joining me, and we'll be chatting again very soon.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye. Mwah.
Leaving.
All righty, folks. Thanks so much for hanging in there with us. Is there anybody in the chat who wants to come on live with me and have some conversation? Ask me. It's a Ask Me Anything day. Um, Jason Gale, you want to come on live? You have a lot to say this morning. Let me know. Jess, if you want to come on live, I think you're in the chat. Anybody who wants to come on live? Nobody? What's that mean, Jason? Uh, okay. I'm sending you an invite. Okay. And we're waiting for Jason to join. In the meantime, stick around because at the end of the conversation, just know I just woke up. So what? We all just woke up. Come on, I sent you an invite. Do I need to resend? Invite to stream. I sent another one. Um, at the end, I'm going to be telling you what the lineup is for Coffee with the Crone over the next few weeks. We have some really exciting guests, and I think you are going to. I see invite. I see no invite. Invite to stream. I am. It says invite sent, and then you should just have something come up on your screen that's you click, and it says join or accept invitation, something like that. Um, in the meantime, I'll go ahead and give you guys a heads up. Next Sunday is my birthday. And oh, by the way, I have a special where which is 20% off of an annual subscription forever. So if you want to take advantage of that deal, then um, go to you'll see some of those um, uh, links popping up to get that special deal. But I don't see it. Nothing. Well, my on my end, it keeps saying waiting for Jason Gale to join. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. Maybe, I don't know, are you on your phone? I don't know if that has something to do with it or not. But anyway, so my birthday is next Sunday, and my special guest is going to be Dana Dubois. And a lot of you know her. She is a memoirist and cultural essayist and a Gen X word nerd. And we both love all things Gen X. So she's going to be my guest next Sunday. And then on the 6th, we are going to celebrate Labor Day weekend with Ann P. Mitchell Esquire. And if you don't know about Ann P. Mitchell Esquire, she is a queen. Let me tell you, she's an attorney, a law professor, an author, and much, much more. Hey, Jason. Let me just finish this real quick. So we will have Ann P. Mitchell on the 6th, and we are going to be talking about her memoir writing. Her personal story is absolutely inspiring. And so we are going to get some crone wisdom from Ann P. Mitchell on the 6th of September. How are you this morning, Jason?
I just realized I look worse than I thought. I woke up and I thought, shit, what time is it? I'll bet you I'm missing Shayla's show. And so I jumped up. Before I even looked at the clock, I went and made some coffee. And then I was like, oh shit, it doesn't start for like an hour.
Oh, good. Oh, good. I'm glad you had a little bit of time to wake up before you joined us this morning.
Yeah,
My drink of choice this morning is iced green tea matcha.
that's a hell of a mug.
And it is. Look at it though. It's beautiful. It's leather. It's waxed leather. I got it at a Renaissance fair. And
What?
it's the symbols are ravens.
Yeah,
So
Celtic water design ravens.
ravens are my thing. So yeah, I'm drinking iced green tea matcha because William Shatner and his daughter started a new podcast, which if you don't know, William Shatner is like 95 years old and he is as healthy and spry as they come. But he and his daughter are both cancer survivors, and they started a podcast about living a long, healthy life. And they had a doctor on this last week who was talking about iced green tea matcha being like the one superfood that if you're ever going to consume something on the regular, this one's it because of its anti-inflammatory properties and stuff like that. So I've started drinking a lot more iced green tea matcha.
Yeah, that's been suggested to me several times. If people don't know, I have stage 4 colon cancer. I'm fighting. That's why I look like an old ass man. Because I really am. I look, used to look like a 39-year-old man before that.
Hmm.
I'm 56, but
Well, you're still younger than me.
I'm still alive, which is amazing. I'm only a
You're
couple years.
still alive. You're still alive.
I'm not
So
a grand
yeah,
yet.
will you be anytime soon that you know of?
No, a couple years ago I put some pressure on, but I said no pressure. But it'd be cool if I could meet a grandkid or two.
Yeah, no kidding. I am a grandma times three. I have a 5-year-old grandson, a 4-year-old grandson, and a 2-year-old granddaughter. And they are just the light of my life. And I am
Kids
so
are great.
fortunate to be in a position where I can help with watching them during the day when kids are working sometimes and having them spend the night and just, yeah,
The best thing about being a
it's
grandparent is you always can give them back, right?
that is true. But I just find their presence in my life is very healing.
Yeah.
That just, a child's joy is there's something about being around that is so grounding, and it reminds me to play on the regular.
My mom, when I was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we lived in this hippie community in Sonoma County, right off the Russian River,
Yeah.
and we lived with my best friend's family. He'd been my best friend the entire time I've been alive, because we were there since the beginning together. And then, and he's a grandfather like 20 times over. But we also, there'd be all these hippies who were out there doing whatever on the river, doing inner tubing, hanging out, drinking beers, and doing acid and all that. But my mom was the one adult that would just say, you know what, I'm going to grab the kids and get them, I'm going to take them up and look out up on that meadow. We're going to learn about wildflowers. Or she'd take us down to Bodega Bay or somewhere near Bodega Beach that would show us sea urchins and like hermit tide pools.
Yeah.
And that
I grew up
joy.
in Sacramento, so I spent a lot of summers in that area.
Okay, yeah, I
Yeah.
forgot that. Yeah, and Yosemite too. We'd be up at
Yeah.
Yosemite, gold panning. My grandfather was a big gold panner. But the point being is that she found so much joy in, rather than go do drugs and get high with all the rest of the hippie love-ins, she would like to go out and teach young kids about the most fascinating things about nature and whatnot. So that was instilled in me in a very early age, and I think that there's so little of that in so many places around the world, especially American religious communities. And they kind of just pump their head full of one thing.
Right. Do you get a chance to get out of the house much anymore?
No, I never leave my house. Sometimes I never leave my room. Very, very little. But if I go outside right now, and my neighbors think, what a fucking crazy looking neighbor we have now. He used to be kind of normal. Out there amongst the fog
Oh, wow. What a view.
is the Monterey Bay. You can't see it because the fog lasts till about 10:30, 11 o'clock,
Yes.
sometimes later.
Yes.
And then around me, I've just got all this other nature.
Oh, how
You know what I mean?
gorgeous.
And in the backyard is really just this massive nature valley. I
Mhm.
bought this place because of that view. If you saw what it looked like on a sunny day, I get sunrises on that side and I get sunsets on that side. I can see all the way from Monterey to Santa Cruz. So,
Oh,
and it sounds like I'm a
fantastic.
spoiled pig or something, but that's where I put my money that I earned, my whole career. I put it all
That's
into
a
this place.
that's a healing view right there. I mean, that has to just, I could imagine just sitting out there at sunset and just the sense of peace.
Chilling with the soda on the rocker.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why I bought this place. In the house itself, it's got a sauna. It's got a walk-in sauna. It's got a hot tub and a swimming
Oh,
pool.
wow.
2 double car garages, which one I turned into a brewery. The other one I turned into a chill zone, which means it has
Oh,
a table for
nice.
darts and amps and music and stuff.
It's your man
But now
cave.
I'm just one person though. Yeah, but I mean, now I really would rather just live in that RV outside, which is my friends are having bought it yet because they're supposed to buy it when I sell the house. But this massive RV that
Oh, wow.
it has a giant, massive. The biggest room in there is the bathroom, which is something I need for storing lots of cancer, related supplies and everything, and have to have my own bathroom. No matter what, I can't share it with people because of chemotherapy. So I would be happy just to live in that and park it down by the beach behind this ice cream shop.
Yeah, no
My
kidding,
friend
right?
lives.
When I was growing up, one of my best friend's parents had a trailer on Dillon's Beach. And we
Oh yeah,
used
Dylan's.
to, like, as that was in the days when like teenage girls could go off by themselves for 2 weeks and we'd be okay.
Yeah,
And we
you
would
meet people
just go
like me.
down. We'd just be down at the trailer, and we had summer reading for school because for high school we'd read our Shakespeare together or whatever on the beach and paint and listen to Prince. And we knew all the words to Purple, the Purple Rain album. And we'd walk the beach at night. And yeah, it was a blast. I just absolutely loved it.
I was listening to Raspberry Beret last night at one point, and I was thinking, there's 3 people I can think of that were legends in their own time, like easily classified as a legend in their own time, and that's Prince, by far.
Yes.
By the time he was 19, he was absolutely a legend. Curtis Mayfield, who
Sure.
also
Yeah.
another. By the time he was 19, he was
Yeah.
legendary, well known. He's the guy. For those who don't know, he's the guy who wrote Superfly and
Mhm.
The Ghetto, and you recognize him if you heard the music because he's
Mhm.
so well played. And then James Brown, you
James
know.
Brown's another one. I would add David Bowie to that list.
Yeah, David Bowie by 17 was pretty public figure. The thing about David Bowie was before he was Ziggy Stardust, or before he had the persona of Ziggy Stardust,
Mhm.
he was already touring the world. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And he was also very interested in other people's music. If you've read Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, you see that he
Yes.
and Iggy Pop would constantly take trains up to Germany where the Beatles were playing 6 days, 6 nights a week in German drinking halls. I mean, they had constant work, right? So these guys would come up there and visit them and hang out. But he also was a huge fan of this local person here in San Jose called the legendary Stardust Cowboy.
Hmm.
If you haven't heard him, just look up legendary Stardust Cowboy bugle solo. All right, he's actually speaking English, but you can't tell. I can't tell. And my old drummer was his drummer. He's still his drummer,
Oh,
and
wow.
was drummer back in '82 or whatever it was when Bowie asked him to come over to England, and he flew him over and asked him to tour with him for a year, and they did.
Huh.
So it's
Wow.
he's
Fantastic.
for
Wow.
me,
What a life.
Bowie's more than just a legend. He's like in his own time. He's a star man. He's a space oddity. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
He's
Yeah.
absolutely. Did you see Man Who Fell to
Yeah.
Earth?
Yeah. So good.
What a
Right.
weird
Yeah.
movie.
He took it all went to a whole nother level with him. And Rose in the chat section throws Stevie Wonder's name out.
The one
You
thing
know, when you
he's
look at
legend
the influence he's had on so many other artists.
and is still having and is still playing live,
Yeah.
is still showing up and like doing duets with people randomly
Hmm.
sometimes. Stevie Wonder is absolutely amazing, and forget that he's blind at all because that has nothing to do with how incredible a person he is, let alone musician. And there's a few others in that category, I suppose. But what I mean about legend in their own time at an early age, like 19, I don't know if Stevie Wonder was a legend by then at age 19. I'd have to look it up.
Mm,
My sister is a massive Stevie Wonder fan all my life. She's
yeah.
just crazy about him.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. So, do you have any questions for me?
Well, I was
If
kind of tripping out. I didn't know that you were a therapist before. I knew you were a principal.
Yeah.
Uh, and in the conversation with, I want to say sacred, but it's not. It's Raven, right?
With
It's
Raven. Hmm.
um, I was listening to their side of the perspective, and then you brought up menopause and perimenopause, and if that's a physiological angle, I never even considered that about trans women. Maybe not having or having that. I don't know because I never thought about it. But I know a lot of people who are going through menopause right now who were previously going through perimenopause. I mean, people my age, women my age. All my nurses
Hmm.
at the infusion center actually.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm sure.
one of them told me about that. Divulged the secret that this is why she left me on hold for 4.5 hours once, and she said we're all going through it right now. And I haven't been able to look at them since when I'm sitting there watching them busy around with all the other patients, and they're stopping and go, oh
Hmm.
wait, I forgot this, and they're talking to themselves. I'm just like, oh man, it's so obvious now that I know. But I have friends who wrote books on the subject as well, and eating
Hmm.
disorders. I think I've posted in some of your chats about Dr. Signa Darpinian,
Hmm.
who's an
Hmm.
authority on it. So I guess my question would be, how did you feel about that dynamic from your question or from your statement about going through menopause with the audience being trans women? Or could you
I,
expand on it more?
oh, sure. So I had a guest on previously, Samantha Page, who's a trans woman. I can hear my echo in your,
Oh,
um,
is that better?
yeah. Yes, that's better. Thanks. Um, and we talked during that episode about how there is transition that trans women go through in midlife as well. It's just different. And I think, especially my background as a therapist, I was a clinical social worker. So that is slightly different than being a psychologist or something like that. I come at it from a little bit different perspective, from more of a systems perspective. And so I view people as systems. I view people in communities as systems. And one of the basic tenets of being a social worker is you meet people where they are. And everybody's in a different place. And so it's my job and
Every
kind of
single person, every single individual is in a different place.
yes.
Thank you.
Everybody's experience of midlife change is different. Last week I had Laura LeBlue on and we were talking about our experiences with perimenopause. And our experiences there's overlap, but there's also difference. It's a Venn diagram.
Postpartum is like that too, I would say.
I would agree with that. And so when I think about trans people going through stages of life, we all go through stages of life, and there are certain ages at which, or and not specific ages, but like age ranges at which significant changes tend to happen, right? And so it's just um, we're all going through change, and if we can have
It changes.
yeah, exactly, if we can talk about it and understand each other better, um then we can support each other through it. I might have hot flashes, you might have hip pain. For people going there, and some people may be going through their gender transition um, during a midlife change.
Yeah.
Other people may not, depending on the time of their life when they do it. So I think those are just all dynamics that the more we talk and listen to each other, um, the more we can expand our own understanding of the human condition.
Did you see Disclosure Day yet?
No.
All right. Well, for everybody who hasn't seen it either, but those of you who have seen it, to me, I watched it twice. I watched it first with my son when he came down to visit me, and he rented it for us. And then I watched it again the next day because we were kind of distracted during the movie the first time. We were catching up on stuff. And the very last word of the movie is exactly it. Basically, that's the sum total, and I think it's exactly right. Now, people may not know this about me, but I've seen a ton of UFOs right out there over the Monterey Bay. And the
Mhm.
first time it blew my mind. This is real, this is now, and I'll never be the same. And I never have been. That was 7 years ago. I'm also a person that was raised Native American culture. And my mom and my grandfather both are astrologers and tarot card readers. And my grandfather taught a class on occult history and knowledge at the junior college that he was the head of faculty at. Point being is that an alternative life than most people. And UFOs, I wasn't like a ufologist or a person chasing UFOs or always looking for UFOs. I just came home and I looked out off my deck and there was like swarms of them, right? So um,
Mm.
one thing about that Disclosure movie is since that day that I first saw them, so much has happened and gone a lot further in that same
Mhm.
subject matter for me. And that movie, the second time I watched it, nailed it and nailed it big time. And it's also very much in line with what my medicine woman told me, a sacred pipe ceremony right before COVID hit.
Hmm.
And basically, she told me the whole world's going to change. Everything that you know right now is going to be flipped upside down. Everybody on Earth is going to be affected by this thing. Everyone's going to have to adjust. And it's coming right up, right as you turn 49, which
Hmm.
is so 7 cycles of 7 years.
Mhm.
7 years would be a regular cycle, a magic cycle, if you might want to call it, because seven's a magic number. But then 7 cycles of 7 years is a grand cycle. And when you end one grand cycle and you step into the next day from that day forward, is another start of another cycle, another grand cycle, which they call grand transjunction. And that's when everything flips upside down. She goes, everybody thinks it's 50, but it's not. 49 is the big one. They got their math wrong. They're basing it on the number of fingers they have and appendages, head, arms, and legs. But really, put 2 wings on that, and you've got 7, and that's the real number. And she was right. Everything changed from that moment forward. But she goes, the universe is also going through that same transjunction in its own cycles in a concentric circle with yours. So not only will everybody on Earth have their world flipped upside down, but yours is going to be very extreme, like times 100. And I'm going, we're sitting in a circle with our medicine tools, and we're doing sacred pipe ceremony, which doesn't do any mind altering anything. It's just a normal tobacco that she home grows. I'm like, why me? What the fuck? why does this have to happen? To me. So I'm trying to get to the point that the uniqueness that I've always felt. She goes, well, it's your whole life, baby. And she's 86 at that point in time. Okay. Crone old lady, and she looks like a hawk, with her beads and her medicine garb and all of her tools. And she's got this nose that really says, I'm a hawk. And she's never been wrong. I've known her since I was 16 when she took me on a vision quest, rites of passage with a bunch of other people my age, out in the desert in the middle of nowhere. She's my spiritual guide ever since. And I've never found her to be wrong. And she wasn't this time either, which messed me up. She goes, but since the day you were born, you've had extreme changes constantly, because I was born when my parents were on the run from the FBI. So 3 days after I was born, we were on the road, and I lived in a car of some kind for the first 6 months minimum of my life. So the amount of people that I've interfaced with, the amount of faces and places that have, were right there at the beginning, constant change. And I'm a Taurus. So I'm always looking for stability, and I'm always trying to grasp onto something of foundational, kind of foundation that I can structure that I can grab onto and try to stick with it. And I've gotten pretty far, and then everything extremely changes again. And it's been that way off and on my entire life. I've been a millionaire. I've been homeless several times. One thing I can say is I raised a damn good kid. And the reason why I think that I had such an impact, and he's told me this is true, is because I never pushed him to do stuff that he, maybe didn't have an interest in.
Yeah.
I just pushed him in school, and I explained to him when he was 6. I said, if you keep working hard to get good grades, by the time you turn 18 or 17 or 18 in high school, and all your friends are going off to college maybe, you're not going to want to be left behind. I know that's true because I never went to college. I didn't make it past 7th grade. But he said, okay. And I just stayed on him about the homework and everything. And he did. He that was my life goal for 20 years, is to make sure he had college options. And if he wanted to pursue them, that he could, and he would graduate debt-free. And that's happened. My life goal was met. Now,
there's a legacy.
Well, yeah. And, he's already passed it on to his little sister. Because, like, in his life, he didn't get that encouragement many other places. He doesn't have a big family. He doesn't have, lots of cousins. He has a couple of them. And his mom was like, B's and C's are fine. Chill out, And I said, no, this is one thing that I insist on. But everything else in his life is something he was interested in. He's an amazing musician. He's an amazing artist. He's a front-end developer for a startup company. But he also is the person that does all the designing of the user interface through UX data-based, functionality.
Huh.
Yeah, so I go to him for advice on music and art and stuff.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
Well, Jason, it has been a pleasure getting to chat with you face to face, getting to know you a little bit better. Thanks so much for coming on with me this morning. We want to send you all of the healing vibes and wishes and energy that we can, so that your body can expel what it does not need and take in what it does, and retain all of the good things that are there.
Thank you.
So thank you so much. Have a terrific week. Stay in touch. I'm sure we'll be chatting soon.
Tomorrow night, right?
Tomorrow night's latchkey hour. Don't miss it. And to be on time, because we have that, that cold open thing that we do. Absolutely. So we'll see you then.
Thanks for having me.
Take care. All right, everybody. I want to thank you so much for joining me this morning for Coffee with the Crone. As I mentioned a little bit before, next Sunday is my birthday. I have a birthday week special going on that is 20% off of an annual subscription forever. So, if you want to support the work that I do, which is all user supported, um, then feel free to take advantage of that opportunity. 20% off forever. There's a coupon out there in the ether. If you subscribe to me, you can still subscribe for free, and then you get my newsletters and all of that. So you should be able to get the link that way as well. Next Sunday, I'll be celebrating my birthday on Coffee with the Crone with Dana Dubois, memoirist and cultural essayist, right here on Substack. And she is also a Gen X word nerd, lots of fun. And so we're going to talk about whatever. I don't know, but it'll be fun. And then I'll be celebrating Labor Day weekend with Ann P. Mitchell, extraordinary woman, extraordinary attorney, law professor, author, legal advisor. All kinds of things. And we are going to be talking about her personal story, which is incredibly inspiring, from Hell's Kitchen to Stanford and beyond. So that will be an excellent conversation. And then on September 13th, my guest is going to be Teresa Kariakis. She is an old school California zine girl. Um, she was an up close and literally personal photographer to the most well known musicians of the 80s, from Billy Idol, Blondie. Belinda Carlisle is literally her best friend. She's got pictures of Cyndi Lauper in her bathroom. I mean, all kinds of stuff. She is technically a boomer, but identifies as a Gen Xer. So I am going to honor that, that she is in fact a Gen Xer. It's an attitude. It's not an age. And so I'm going to have her here on the 13th and get to talk to her, which I'm really looking forward to. Jason's had her on his photography podcast, and we actually have one of her photographs in our house. Super cool. Latchkey Hour, is my second live every week, Mondays, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Tomorrow night is the very, very special episode, very labor intensive episode that I'm going to leave here and work with Jason on making sure is all ready to go for tomorrow. Unsolved Mysteries, the lost episode. The following week, the 31st, Jason's going to be out of town. So I am scaling down Latchkey Hour to play 80s trivia with me. It'll just be fun. And so maybe I can have some people in the chat come on live with me, and we can just have some fun going through trivia questions. People in the chat can try to answer too. And it's just going to be casual. Beyond that, because this week's Latchkey Hour has taken up so much of my brain, I haven't gotten beyond Latchkey Hour and trivia next week. So I don't know what's going to happen after that. It's a surprise. So, anyway, I want to thank everybody who's been in this chat. Sammy D, thanks for joining us. Jason Gale and Raven Marie, my live guests. Thanks to Jay, my emotional support Canadian, and Jess, my emotional support Northern Irish American sister in love. And Rose, always good to see you. Blue Sky Eyes, good to see you again. Zelda Zulu, you've been a regular, and that I love that. Fantastic. And so many others, so many others. Luca, I haven't met you officially, but nice to have you here. Esme, I have seen you on other lives, and I think you're fabulous. So, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. And until next week, my birthday, my 58th birthday. Until then, stay magical, my friends.